Greetings, Evil Genius here. Now, this is not the video I was intending to make today. You probably have to wait for Monday for that one. But someone sent me a link to a website. I'll come to it in a moment. And it's just too fucking good to pass up. It really is. Now, I want to start by saying there are some topics, say like politics and religion, I think are not suitable. They're not appropriate for a business context like, say, LinkedIn or any kind of business conversation. All right, that's a load of bollocks. You caught me out there. I think every topic pretty much under the sun is relevant to business and a business conversation. And if you want to know why I think that, you can ask me in the comments and I'll tell you. But my attitude to it, because, you know, people do get heated by politics and religion. So my attitude to it is a little bit like my attitude to, say, going out for a few beers, mates, but, you know, I am not storming Constantinople. And a few hours later, there I am in my chainmail making a fucking escalade, and I'm swinging my sword about and chopping off the heads. That's my attitude. So, you know, I always swear blind I'm not going to talk about politics and religion. And I always end up talking about politics and religion because they're so important and they are relevant to business, as I say. Now, this website, the title of the article, the headline of the article says this: Panera's socialist pay what you want restaurant implodes. Students and homeless mob the place. Now, my question is this: what part of that did they not fucking see coming, really? It's such a good question, I'm going to ask it again, only louder. What part of that did they not fucking see coming? Alright? Now, socialism, for all it might look great on paper, I don't think it does look great on paper, I don't agree with it. But even if I did, it doesn't work, it cannot work. And here's why it can't work, right? Societies and economies are examples of a class of systems called complex adaptive systems. Alright? And they look designed, they have order, they have structure, and they look like they've been designed from the top down. Like, you know, societies, like economies, like beehives, like anthills, things like that. But they're not. They're actually, the emergent properties of order we see are actually the result of the individual's units in the system, within the system, following a fairly simple set of rules. All right? And in fact, this is why this is all you are. Your consciousness in your brain is an emergent property of a complex adaptive system comprising interconnected neurons. And when you die and these neurons become disconnected, well, you fade away. Your consciousness just fades away. The emergent property goes back into the ether, so to speak. Okay? And the entropy increases and you're gone. Which is quite scary, really. I mean, there's no part of the brain we can point to as the seat of consciousness. We know it's not like that. You actually don't exist, not your consciousness. Ooh. So, back to complex adaptive systems and socialism. It can't work because human beings, in socialism, human beings are supposed to work for the common good, even at their own expense, whether they like it or not. But human beings are always looking out for number one. And, you know, we all do it, and that's okay. I think selfishness has got a bad rep. And here's why I say that, okay? You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not an altruist, and that's going to rub a few people up the wrong way for a start. I'm not an altruist at all. There's not an altruistic bone in my body. And the reason for that is people should stand on their own 2 feet. And I don't mind giving people a hand up, but I won't give them a hand out. And socialism is about giving people a hand out. It's about sharing what other people own and have produced and giving it to other people whether they are deserving of it or not. Now that goes against human nature. And that's why people in a socialist economy will fight against it and behave according to their true nature, which is being selfish, which is okay. And so socialist economies always fall apart. They eat themselves. And this is what we've seen in every socialist country so far. Now, you might point at places like Norway and say, yeah, but it's working there. Well, no, it's not really. It only appears to be working because they have the outside influence of oil. That's where the revenue comes from. When the oil dries up, Norway will fall apart. And if you look at places like Denmark and Sweden, they've got bigger problems than you realise. And every other socialist country, the hardline socialist countries, Venezuela, Cuba, China became a capitalist nation, the Soviet Union, all those fucking placey stands, they all fall apart. And they fall apart because socialism cannot work. Okay? Forget it. Now, if you want to do good, and we all do, including me, even though I'm not an altruist, you know, I do charitable deeds. I do good deeds. I don't brag about them. I'm not really bragging about them now. But for instance, my passion, if you like, is to help young autistic men and women get through life successfully. And I don't mean children, because I'm not qualified to deal with kids, and they get plenty of help from the system, certainly in the UK anyway. But I'm talking about probably men and women 17, 18 and up, because I know how difficult it is. Especially the more normal, the more neurotypical you can present yourself, the more difficult it is, ironically. People often, they don't believe I have a shred of autism in my psyche, simply because I can present as normal. But if you get to know me properly, you'll see this ultra competent, happy-go-lucky bloke all of a sudden freezes up in an airport and is completely lost and dumbfounded and needs help because, well, I can't fucking help it. That's the way my brain's wired up. So I don't mind walking around with a badge on saying this is what autism looks like. And more recently, I've got a little sunflower lanyard that tells the airport staff I might need more help or more time to process things, because the place to be non-verbal is not in an airport, when they might think your reason for being non-verbal is something to do with drugs leaking out of a drug-filled condom stuck up your arsehole, and Big Charlie with a rubber glove comes along to try and fish it out. So the lanyard helps. Now, so I do charitable deeds. I want to help these people because there's fuck all help out there for adults, and I think people like me, we can do good. But here's the thing. I don't do it at my own sacrifice, my own expense. Well, my own expense, yes, I pay for it, run the website and things. But what I mean is, what I do first, the very first thing I do, and this is with my kids and my wife and my family and everything else, I make sure I'm okay first. So a little bit like on the airplane. If all the oxygen goes out, the mask comes down, you put the mask on first. Because if the mask comes down and you try and put your children's masks on and they're pissing and moaning and shouting and screaming and they're fighting it, the chances are you will pass out and then you're no good to anyone. So you look after yourself first. Well, it's the same in life and business. I look after myself first, so I make sure my business is running right. I make sure I'm making the money I need to make. I make sure my health is good, my fitness is good, my mental health is good. Because when those things are in place, I have the financial, physical and mental resources to help others. Okay? Well, that's not the socialist attitude at all. And it's not fucking human nature either. So look, be selfish. Look after yourself first. Okay? And this is why I run my business the way I do. This is why when people come to me and saying, oh, can you do something about the price? I can't really afford your services. No, I can't do something about the price other than put it up. I'm not a fucking charity. And I can't help you in your business if I'm not okay first. I'm not doing it. Because then eventually I will go bust. Just like that fucking restaurant did. Now, if you want to do good deeds in your business, and I've had this conversation several times with people who say, I want to make sure that my services, sometimes photography, graphic design, who was the other one? I can't remember what it was. But several businesses have said, I want to make my thing affordable and accessible to all. Well, that's great. It's, that's a wonderful sentiment. But if you try to do that across the board, you will fail. So if you want to do that, here's what you can do. Charge a lot of money for your services to those people who are willing and able to do so, to pay for it. And for those who can't, those deserving cases, run a scholarship, say. So for every 10 people who pay your premium rate, one person, a deserving case, gets it for free. In that case, when you do it like that, you're making good money, you are serving those who can afford your full fee, and they're happy and they're getting great service, and you're also doing the thing to help others. Okay? You're not sacrificing yourself, because sacrifice is basically giving up something you value for something you don't. Alright? That's sacrifice. If you want to help people, sort it out yourself first. Right. Rant over. If you want any more kind of no nonsense bullshit, no nonsense, no bullshit advice from me about running your business, click the link below, hit the website, book a time to talk, and that's what we'll do. Alright? Speak to you soon. Ta-da.